Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia, and today we're starting a brand new Let's Talk Lore series titled The Founding of Jin. In this series, we'll cover roughly the first decade of the Jin dynasty, which was officially founded soon after Sima Zhao's death in 265 by his son and heir, Sima Yan, who would force the abdication of the last Wei emperor in Cao Huan. And it would take the Jin dynasty another 15 years to reunite all of China in 280, with the surrender of the last kingdom of Wu, thus ending the Three Kingdoms period. As we will be saving the final campaign against Wu for our eventual finale series titled The Surrender of Wu, our series here will end with the Qin-Liang Rebellion, which was a Xianbei rebellion in the northern provinces of Qin and Liang that plagued the early days of the Jin dynasty. This northern nomadic rebellion will also be the reason why it took the Jin dynasty so long after the conquest of Shuhan to finally bring down the final rival kingdom in Wu. But we are getting ahead of ourselves, as our first episode here will start by covering Sima Zhao's final days. Our story begins in October of 263. The military campaign pushed by the Wei regent Sima Zhao against the kingdom of Shuhan had been underway for just a little over a month, and it was progressing well beyond even the most optimistic projections by the Wei imperial court. Under Zhonghui's command, the main Wei attack force had successfully marched through the difficult Qinling mountain range and defeated the Shuhan defenders inside Hanzhong to reclaim this long-lost territory for the kingdom of Wei. Furthermore, with even the formidable Yangping Gate falling to the Wei assault, the path to the Shu heartland is now open, and the conquest of the entire kingdom of Shuhan would just be a matter of time, even if the current campaign fails to deliver the finishing blow. To reward Sima Zhao for this unprecedented success, the Wei puppet emperor Cao Huan, under the advice of the Wei imperial court, offered Sima Zhao the nobility title of Duke of Jin, a promotion to Xiangguo, or Chancellor, and a gift of the 9 bestowment. Now, as we mentioned before, during the Fall of Wei series, Sima Zhao had been offered the Duke of Jin multiple times during the reign of the previous Wei Emperor Cao Mao, but for various political reasons and implications, Sima Zhao had always politely declined this nobility title. This time, however, with complete control of the Wei court and military, Sima Zhao decided that it was finally time to elevate his own status in preparation for usurpation, as Sima Zhao would accept the Duke of Jin title in October of 263. Now, this Duke title was not just a ceremonial empty title, as it came with its own dukedom north of the Yellow River that would include 10 commandery worth of land, mimicking the historical kingdom of Jin that had occupied this area back during the Zhou dynasty, prior to the start of the Warring State period. The choice of Jin was mainly because the ancestral homeland of the Sima clan was in the Henei commandery, which fell under the jurisdiction of the historical kingdom of Jin. Furthermore, the choice of Jin was also a historical callback to the partition of the original kingdom of Jin in 403 BC, when the 3 predominant ruling gentry clans usurped power from the ruling family and split Jin into 3 to form the warring state kingdoms of Zhao, Han, and Wei. So in a rather serendipitous manner, the current kingdom of Wei, who got its name from its warring state predecessor, is now repaying the sins of its namesake kingdom by giving the Jin title back to its own eventual usurper. But this is more or less just a historical coincidence, as the Duke title itself will not objectively change the dynamics of the Wei court, given that Sima Zhao's control was already absolute. More importantly, by early January of 264, with news of Liu Shan's surrender confirmed, Sima Zhao's attention shifted from the conquest of the rival kingdom of Shuhan to the post-war internal issues of dealing with the personal ambition of his top general Zhong Hui. Having already anticipated a potential military coup by Zhong Hui even prior to the Shuhan conquest, Sima Zhao made sure that most of the officers that had accompanied Zhong Hui were Sima clan loyalists. And even though the two top-ranking generals in Zhuge Xu and Deng Ai had both been removed by Zhong Hui during and after the campaign, most of the mid-level officers were still present to counterbalance Zhong Hui. In the end, it would be this collection of officers led by Army Inspector Wei Guan, Chief Army Advisor Shi Zuan, and General Hu Lie that would collectively bring a premature end to Zhong Hui's rebellion. And for those who are interested in the details of these events, please check out our previous series on the conquest of Shuhan using the link above. Now, will Sima Zhao's preparations ended up paying off? At the time in early January of 264, when Deng Ai's arrest was just approved, Sima Zhao had no idea if Zhong Hui's rebellion could have been stopped. So as an added precaution, Sima Zhao ordered his most trusted general Jia Chong to take a force of 10,000 troops to act as a vanguard army to secure control of Hanzhong, while Sima Zhao himself would organize a main force of 100,000 troops to mobilize west to Chang'an in order to be ready for whatever outcome. As Sima Zhao was going to personally leave the capital, Emperor Cao Huan was also forced to accompany Sima Zhao as a precaution against any potential coup. Sima Zhao also would send 500 of his closest guards under the command of his advisor Shan Tao to travel to the city of Ye, where all the remaining members of the Cao imperial clan resided in, to keep strict surveillance on them, as Sima Zhao did not want anyone to do to him what his father Sima Yi did to Cao Shuang all those years ago at Gaopingling. And if we were to analyze Sima Zhao's mobilization here, it's largely meant to serve two main purposes. First, if Zhong Hui did somehow manage to gain control of the army inside Shu and launch his rebellion, then Sima Zhao would have been well prepared and positioned for battle. Second, more importantly, I believe Sima Zhao mobilized with full intent of forcing Zhong Hui to rebel, as he overtly informed Zhong Hui of this deployment in the edict approving Deng Ai's arrest. And knowing that Zhong Hui's arrogance and ambition, Sima Zhao knew that by mobilizing, it would only hasten Zhong Hui's pace towards rebellion, as Zhong Hui simply had too much self-confidence and pride to back down from his initial plan. Thus, by forcing Zhong Hui's hands to launch his rebellion prematurely, Sima Zhao was guaranteeing his own victory. And after Zhong Hui met his end in Chengdu at the hands of the unruly Wei troops who opposed his intention to rebel, Sima Zhao recalled the army and returned to the capital city of Luoyang with the emperor. Soon after, in March of 264, not even half of a year after receiving his duke title, Sima Zhao was elevated to the king or prince of Jin, depending on your preferred localization of the term Wang, and given another 10 commanderies to be added to his princedom. At this point, it would have seemed the natural next step would have been usurpation, but given how Sima Zhao played a direct role in the death of the previous Wei Emperor Cao Mao, I believe Sima Zhao had long decided that he should not be the one to actually usurp, for it would be better for the reputation of his clan if his son did it instead, much like how Cao Cao waited for Cao Pi. But this is something that we will never know, as by the very next year, in August of 265, Sima Zhao would suddenly turn ill and pass away at the age of just 55 years old. Sima Zhao's heir and eldest son, Sima Yan, would assume his father's titles, and by the end of the year, with the help of the Sima loyalists at court, Sima Yan would force the abdication of the Wei Emperor Cao Huan, as the kingdom of Wei would officially end, heralding the new Jin dynasty. This transition of power was relatively smooth, given how entrenched the Sima clan were, and the fact that Cao Huan was well aware of his own status of being just a puppet emperor, especially given how his predecessor, Emperor Cao Mao, was killed by Sima Zhao's men in public. To be fair, Cao Huan and the Cao clan as a whole received an unmatched level of care after the abdication, as Cao Huan would be named as the Prince of Chenliu, a title that would remain with the Cao clan for over 200 years, as the Prince of Chenliu title would even outlast the Jin dynasty itself. The princedom would be finally abolished after the reign of Prince Cao Can by the Kingdom of Qi during the North-South dynasties in the year 479. Now, while the whole abdication process would make Sima Yan the first emperor of the Jin dynasty in 265, there was a long period of uncertainty in Sima Yan's youth when it seemed that his younger brother Sima You would have been the official heir. And to find out why this was the case and how Sima Yan ended up securing his own inheritance, come back next time as we'll continue our series tomorrow with episode 2, titled The Path to Heir. So hopefully you all have enjoyed this episode enough to consider subscribing to the channel for more content on Three Kingdoms history, or simply support the channel by leaving a comment below or just by hitting the like button. And as always, I'll see you all next time. Bye!